Oh yeah. What we essentially for what we need to do, we essentially need to do like a full rehab. And actually, I do have pictures from underneath the sink and everything. Um, so for us, as Jalissa said, or whoever you may have spoke to, we're it does need a full update to 2024 status. And I think essentially when we talked initially, you haven't been there in a while with the tenants, and you had to kind of, you know, not the best communication with the tenants.
Well, I was in there probably a couple of months ago. I was
Okay.
in there with her when I was checking in on the rent. And then, since she has not paid rent or anything, and actually I didn't say nothing to her because I figured if she's got to move, she's probably using, trying to save up money to, to get
Yeah.
herself out. So I really didn't say anything to her that she didn't pay the rent.
Yeah. So the property, obviously, if you saw it, is pretty a mess. It needs pretty much everything. The floors are mismatched. The obviously we talked about it needing a roof. The AC, although it's only like 6 years old, I believe, it's not in good condition. It wasn't well kept. Yeah. So
Even know if it's 6 years old. Yeah.
yeah, I think on the sticker it was 6 years old. I think you told me 4 years, but it's actually I think 6 years old on the model we saw outside. Yeah. And so, I wasn't initially putting that on my repairs. We were hoping it was pretty clean because of, typically there's tenants in there, it's livable, but this is nothing like we can just, once these people move out, it's nothing where you can just plug somebody else in there with like paint, paint and cleanup. It needs everything. It needs floors, kitchens, bathrooms. There's no cover on the electric panel.
Told you it had. I told you that it had. I told you everything I knew, that it had real hardwood
Yeah.
floors that needed to be refinished. The kitchen floor is tile, uh, and so I told you it I didn't know if I had refinished them once myself, and they're really nice floors. There's nothing wrong with the floors, but they have to be refinished. Or nowadays, people put down those vinyl planks.
Yep.
So that would probably be easier to put vinyl planks than to
Correct.
spend all that labor to do it. I did it with a helper myself uh, once, but and the house was empty, and it takes a good while. You got it. Actually, to me, it takes two people because when you're varnishing and stuff, uh, the guy was down on his hands and knees and his socks on, and I'm spotting him to say, over here, over there, you got to stand back where you can see kind of what needs to be done. And so, yeah, I'm sure it does need it, but I mean, this is not a new house, uh, anyway, uh, the bottom line that the house, my latest thing, I think was 167,000, 167 or 169. In good, in good shape. So it needed some, updating, tender loving care, because I don't know how she's gonna leave the place. I really don't know. Uh, if it's something you don't think you want to tackle, hey, it's no hard feelings. If you want to back out of the contract, doesn't matter to me.
I gotcha. And I do want to tackle it, and we want to move forward with the deal. We just need some help because it's a little bit more than we thought. And for us, and I can give you, if you have a pen and paper, I can break down the exact numbers for you on every section of what we're making on the property and expected profit and all that, and break down the numbers exactly for you. And I don't want you to think that we're trying to ask for a price reduction, but like right now, if we move forward on the deal, we would make $0. We would lose money. And so obviously I'm not in the business of losing money. That's not the way to move forward. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Well, so, yep.
Full time since 2001. Been there, done that, and I did the. I started out doing the majority of the work on these things myself because I was, wanted to save money. So back then that was my job. I don't do it anymore. I can do it, and but
Likewise.
that's what I started out doing it myself to save a lot of money. And I know you hire big shot contractors. I hire little guys, that don't charge me a whole lot. I've got three different handymen that do that do work for me, and they're very reasonable. And two of them rent from me, and they just deduct it off the rent.
Nice. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's sometimes it's a
whole lot more reasonable than you do.
so we go both ways sometimes. We actually we do sometimes hire the people who cost a little bit more, but the one thing with them is they can get in and out of a property and like your property in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and be done with it. And sometimes if to hire the little guy, it could be cheaper, but it might take 3 or 4 months because it's just them and they don't have like a big crew. So it's like time or money, and it's almost like ends up being a wash because we borrow money to do these deals. We borrow money from other sellers we've done deals with in the past, other private investors who lend money to us, and we pay them interest on their money. And so for us, we can pay a little bit more up front and get it done quicker, or we take a little bit longer and it takes more time. So it's kind of like we've done both, and it's almost the same thing, So
yeah, I see what you're saying. You're correct. You're correct.
And so I don't know if you do have a pen. I can kind of break down the numbers for you and show you where I'm coming from and see if it makes sense for you. I don't, just so that way you can see exactly what I'm looking at and see if it makes sense.
Well, I mean, you want to you can send it to me.
If you'd like.
Your email or something. I'm in my truck right now.
Okay, I can. So I called you earlier from my cell phone, and I don't know if you thought it was a random number, so maybe you didn't answer. I was trying to talk to you earlier. So let me text to you right now, and we can discuss it while we're on the phone.
Oh, okay.
If that works for you.
Yes, that's fine. I'm sitting in my truck. I pulled off. I'm not driving.
Okay. I just sent you a text message, and it's kind of
text. Okay.
It's a text message, yep. So if you pull it up, it can kind of break down exactly like kind of how we run our numbers and look at it, and you can we can go through and just kind of see where I'm coming from and see if we can make something work.
You want to give me $99,000?
Well, I'm showing you exactly how we break down the numbers, and then I can see where we can potentially meet, just so you can just see where I'm coming from. This is typically where we break our numbers down. So if you see up top, we believe once we fix it all up, we can sell it for $220K, right? And then, but when we sell it for $220K, as you know, we have to pay closing costs and commissions. We don't get all that $220 to us. So on average, the closing cost of commissions.
$50,000 in rehab. What's $15,000 holding? What does that mean?
$15,000 holding cost is like I told you just a little bit ago. We borrow money to do all the deals. That's how we're able to do a number of deals every single month. If we borrow from private investors, we pay them interest. So it's our holding cost for the time period, and that includes also insurance, utilities, all those costs of holding costs. And then we always put in a 5% risk factor because, either if we're off on our sales price, if we're off on rehab costs, if something pops up, as you know, in real estate, there's always something that pops up. So we always put like a 5% fudge factor in there. And then for us, typically on a rehab, we try to make at least like a 15% return. I dropped this down to like slightly above a 10. So I put 25K profit. That's kind of like our minimum profit of what we would want to make on a full rehab. If it was a quick lipstick job, maybe I'd be okay making less, but it's pretty much a full rehab. So 25K is like the profit we would want to be making on this deal that's going to take, several months. And so that when I add up all those numbers, it comes to 99K. I think that's a big reduction for you, obviously. So I'm trying to see if we can meet, or I can come up a little bit more.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't do that.
I got you. Could you do?
I'm not doing that because I had the one guy. Actually, you have. Let me see. You didn't have the purchase price. It was what, 122.5, I think it was.
Yeah.
Wasn't that was what we had, and I had the one offer for 125,000. From the one guy.
So from my recollection,
better.
Well, from my recollection of our conversation, you had offers of like 115 and 120, and you went with me because I was ready to move forward, and I told you I'd give you more because I was like, hey.
I had one for 125,000. I had 3 different offers, and my highest was 125. And that's why when you offered, I think it was 120, and I said, well, I have the 125, and I said, well, see if you could meet me halfway, and you said 125. That's how we ended up with that. And
Gotcha.
but I liked you better. I liked talking to you better. We've never seen each other, but you're still talking to people on the phone, and your personality, whatever. I liked what you were doing. You're a young person. You and your brothers is doing this. I liked the scenario of what you were doing, because all of them were going to pay closing costs. So that didn't enter into it for me. I just had better vibes. I liked you better. Just on the phone, I liked you better. And so that's why I thought, well, it was a few $1,000s less, and that was fine, because I liked your demeanor and everything a whole lot better.
I do appreciate that, and we don't really obviously like making these calls asking for price reductions, but it's what we have to do to kind of make the deal work. And a lot of times, obviously, like us and the other people who made you offers, we're going in blind, not really seeing the whole picture of what the house is and what it entails. And a lot of times we go into the house and we're like, hey, paint, carpet, we're good, and I can move forward at 122.5. But unfortunately for this one, it just doesn't. It needs more. And everybody else, I would assume, because I've been doing this for a long time, probably much longer, and bought way more houses than anybody else who probably gave you a call about an offer on this house, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to look at the house and they're going to say, Christine, it needs to be a little bit less for me, and it's going to be the same situation. And so, I want to see if we're...
No, you know what I'll do, Alex? You know what I'll do, personally?
Yes.
I'll fix it up myself. I can fix that house up myself and sell it. All the houses that I sold 15, okay, and I just sold 16. I sold 16 houses without a realtor on my own. So I don't need a middle guy. I'm very capable of doing it myself. And I'm not hurting for money. That one guy paid cash for 5 1 year, and the next year to the day he bought another 5 for cash, and then I sold 5 that I'm holding the first mortgage on at 10%. I'm doing it. So I get a good interest rate too when I do that. So I wouldn't have all these costs and stuff that you're encountering. I won't have all that. I won't have any of that. I could do it myself, or I could put a tenant in there for $1,800 a month.
Do you think, based on the property?
I'm not going to move on.
Do you think, based on the property, if you did re-rent it, how much would you spend on fixing it up to put a tenant back in there at $1,800?
No, I have never spent $10,000. That was in my mind when I bought a house that was really bad. In my mind, I would spend $10,000, but I never did. Never spent $10,000 because, like I said, I have these guys, and then they have jobs, and they come and work on the weekends and after work, and who does this and who does that, and they take care of it for me. And I have nothing wrong with my hands. I'm in there, and I've done a lot of the painting things that I have so many people now that could do things for me, different people, that I don't really need to do that. I'm, time to stop and smell the roses for me. I've already made my mark. You're up and coming, and you're, young and aggressive, and I like that in you. That you're a good businessman, and I appreciate that, because you're like a male version of me when I was your age. I mean, you have to go after it. You have to be aggressive and do it. But see, it won't cost me. I won't have a quarter of what you're putting into it. I won't have that, because you don't get out there with your blood, sweat, and tears. You have other people do it. You hire people for everything that you do. I don't have to do that. Like I said, they take it off the rent. It's not even coming like out of my pocket as such. to do that. And I buy all the materials and stuff, or they call me from Lowe's or Home Depot for a telephone sale.
Yep.
And they're guys. They're not going to rip me off or anything. These people don't do that. I've dealt with them for years. But anyway, I could, like I said, I could actually do it myself. And if I don't know what it looks like in there, but it can't be. In my opinion, I wouldn't be paying more than $10,000 to bring it up to a good standard. And it's an older house. It's not a 2024 house. It's not a brand new house. And all of the houses that I bought were older houses. You can't afford the new ones nowadays. They're just too expensive. But
For sure.
I appreciate you calling, and I see what you're doing. But as far as I'm concerned, that it's like flushing the money down the toilet. I'm very conservative, and I do things economically, I guess you'd say. I didn't want to use the word cheap, but I'm very economical. And,
I gotcha.
and I know how to get the job done because I've done it for so long, and I know who can do what. And you gave me the breakdown of figures, but you didn't tell me like what you were doing, the different things, how much it would take to do this, that, or the.
So I just sent you a link to the photos via text message, and so essentially for us, I know it's not a new house, but we try to modernize it so that way we can get that 220 we're gonna look for. That is kind of like the top of the market for that size, and 3-1 house. Yeah, and so for us right now, obviously the way interest rates are so high, the only houses that are moving, if you look on like averages on days on market, houses getting price reductions, like that's every house. Like the average days on market for a house is like 60, 90 days right now because nothing's selling because there's no good product on the market. So what we don't want to do is put lipstick on a pig over here, do a half-ass rehab, pardon my language, and put it on the market and it sits there and it doesn't move and it doesn't sell, and we waste more time and money and we end up losing. And so instead what we typically do is we make the nicest house that appeals and then that gets sold quickly, but we have to do everything. Especially in this buyer pool, this is like a first-time home buyer area, where they're not going to put a lot of money down. They're going to put 3% interest down, 3% down, and they're going to ask for closing cost concessions because they don't have that money, and they want to know that everything's taken care of. They don't want to be like, in 5 years I have to replace the AC because they might not have that expendable income. And so for this price point, the houses that sell are the ones that has everything redone. So for us, we would do the roof, the AC, the floors, the kitchen, the bathroom, doing everything on the property, paint, doors, everything that needs to be done in this house, make sure the electrical is updated, everything completely, where the new buyer comes in and, they can know that they don't have to spend any dollars in the next 5-10 years. And that's what really sells houses today.
Okay. Well, that's I understand where you're coming from. You're borrowing money from hard money lenders, I guess.
We do it actually from private lenders. So like one of my top investors is actually somebody who was actually like you. She had like a bunch of rental properties, and I sold a bunch of her houses, and she's like, I have all this money now. Do you ever borrow money to do rehabs? And at the time I was using like hard money lenders, and she's like, I'll lend you the money. And so she lent me money, and we always ask our sellers, hey, what are you gonna do with, when you get $100,000 check, what are your plans with it? And if you plan just to put it in the bank or, a savings CD and get, 4 or 5%, we can borrow it at, 8, 10, 12%, depending on the deal, and pay you a higher rate of return on your money.
Okay. And you're borrowing short term.
Yeah, it's mostly like for rehabs like this. So we're turning the money, 4 to 6 months. On the long term, a year. So it's typically a year note.
Oh, a year. Wow.
At the longest. That's like it's usually set up for a year, but most times, obviously, on a rehab like this, I borrow money, I fix it up in 8 weeks, we put it on the market, and it's a 4-month, 5-month process. Sometimes on these deals, there's a 90-day flip. There's a 90-day flip rule with FHA, so we can even accept an offer for 90 days. So even if my team's done with the property in 2 weeks, because it's not a big house, or not 2 weeks, 8 weeks, we still can't even actually accept an offer till 90 days.
Oh, with FHA.
With FHA, yeah. Which is probably the buyer pool for this house.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think. Well, I don't do that much, so I'm not sure who would take. About the financing end.
Were you able to take a look at the photos?
Oh no, I was sitting here listening to you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I was sitting here concentrating. I do have the thing here. Let me see if it's opening. I click on view album?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, there they are. Okay. Okay, there's the kitchen. How do I get another picture?
You should probably either swipe left or right, typically.
Oh, okay. There's under the sink. Okay. These must be pictures from the first photographer.
I'm not sure whose are the pictures. Sometimes they combine them, or sometimes it's one or the other. I'm not positive.
Yeah, see that.
They just sent me a link, and that's it.
With green board on it that's not finished.
So this just gives you an idea, for us to try to sell it top dollar, it kind of needs everything, and that's kind of what we, try to do with the properties. And so I know obviously 99's a low number. Could you do something like 105?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. No, it's not worth it for me. Mm-mm.
What would be worth it for you?
No, I'm not coming off my price. I'm sorry, I'm not coming off the price. I think your estimates are high myself.
Yeah, the prices, no lie, I know it. Prices are crazy right now.
You want to put this house like a brand new house, and it's not a brand new house. I wouldn't have to do all the stuff that you're going to do if I want to use it as a rental.
For sure, 100%.
Or I can sell the house and hold the mortgage. Yeah. So it's two different things, because I get a good monthly income, coming in on the.
Would you sell the house
on
and
the rental?
give me a mortgage?
Would I sell it and give you a mortgage?
Yeah. Would you sell or finance it to me? Yes.
What would you put down on it?
What would you like for me to put down?
Because at this point in my life, I don't need to do that. I'm holding mortgages on. Well, I had 5, 2 paid off. 2 paid theirs off, and so I'm holding mortgages on 3 right now. And I'm getting ready to sell a piece of property for $60,000, and they're going to be putting $30,000 down on that.
Nice. So they don't really need money down.
Oh, I would never ever do a transaction without money down. That's out of the question. You're talking to a female. Women like money, I
know it. I got a whole house of females.
Yeah, do you? I'm sitting in an $80,000 truck that I just bought. I've got, what do I have? 2,000 miles on it now.
Nice. What kind?
Toyota Tundra.
Oh, those are nice. Yeah.
Tundra 4x4. I think it's called the 1796. It's the year that they first acquired property on Toyota property.
Wow.
That's
nice.
It has everything in the world you could think of in this truck. It'll even back the boat down to the to the water or the travel trailer into a parking spot. I mean, anything
That's
you
awesome.
could imagine is on this truck. And one thing I
That
like,
sounds
when you pull
badass.
into a parking place, you can push a button and it shows you exactly how you're parked in the parking space. Like if I don't like a cockeyed vehicle, so if you're crooked or something, you pull in, you can just straighten it up. I have a tonneau cover on the back. You could push a button. You're going down the road, and if you're hauling stuff in the back of the truck, you could look at the stuff if it's flopping around or going to fly out or anything. So, I see. I've got a video going here now that I came.
Oh, walkthrough video. Yeah.
Some of it was a still shot. Now it's a walk. Now it's a. Yeah, I see the video there. Yeah. Well, I'll be going in probably tomorrow. Her goal was moving out today, but I didn't go by today. I went by yesterday, and there was just so much stuff out in the yard. I didn't want to. I asked her if she needed help with my truck or anything, and she said no. She had it covered. She had a trailer and everything, so I offered.
That's nice of you.
She needed help. Yeah, so I thought, well, I would help if she needed to take boxes to storage. I even offered to pay for her storage. To an incentive to get out of there. So I even.
Oh, I heard that bad boy. I heard that bad boy rev up there. That sounds nice.
No, that's a truck next to me.
Oh, okay. That sounded nice.
Mine is running. This is a hybrid, and
nice. Even better.
Switch from electric to gas, and you don't even feel the transition in it. It's kind of like a luxury truck because it drives like a car. This one has a short bed because it's got a bigger cab, full-size doors, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's all real fancy inside and everything.
I love it.
Yeah, I do too. I traded in a Tundra TRD on this one just because I just liked it better. Once
Tundras are nice. I thought
pretty
Toyota trucks would be cheaper than Fords, but they're way more.
Oh, well, my first one, I bought the TRD. When I saw it, I really liked it, and the salesman says, "Oh, you don't want that one. It's a cheap truck." I said, "What do you mean I don't want it? I want that truck right there. I like it, and real sporty. I like the fancy stuff." And he said, "Well, it's a cheap truck." I said, "Well, how cheap is it?" He said 42,000. I said, 42,000? That's not cheap to me. Yeah, 42,000 is a lot of money. Then I turned around and I ended up getting an $80,000, and I think that's probably what he was getting at to begin with. But they didn't have this particular truck. It's a 24, and they revamped them, I guess, and came out with all this fancy stuff. Toyota only is doing hybrids now.
I heard that.
My car is a Camry TRD, and it's real fancy, really pretty. And but he said they're not making any more like that because mine's straight gas, and so is my other truck. Everything's hybrid now, he said. But hey, I like it. It works for me. So anyway, well, Alex, I guess we're not going to be able to make a deal here.
Well, we didn't get to finish talking about seller finance terms. What do you need down as a down payment?
I didn't think about that because at this point in my life, I'm doing a lot of traveling and stuff, and I just don't know if I want to take on another thing like that. Now, how long are you talking about for seller finance until you sell it?
Typically we put it into a seller. I typically don't like to have typically I don't like to have a balloon at all, just because we have more flexibility with it. But, if we had to put one in there, we can talk about it. We try to make a win-win situation,
If you didn't have a balloon, what kind of terms are you looking for?
So for me, I can adjust numbers. So it really depends on, price. If we stick at 122.5, your down payment, and I'll play with the numbers. I'll have a calculator open to kind of figure out what my cash on cash return will be and all that stuff. So we can, if you have an idea of what kind of down payment you're looking for, I can plug it in and see where I need to be, and we can talk real quick and see if we can create a win-win.
Well, if you if you sell the house, you're saying 8 weeks. It's 2 months. You can't get a contract for 3 months on it. Then it's going to be on the market for 2 or 3 months. I mean, are you talking 9 months? Are you talking about a year? When you sell it, it's got to be paid off.
What I was
wraparound mortgages or what?
What I was hoping for was to keep it as a rental, because then I wouldn't have to put it like you said. I wouldn't have to make it a complete $50K rehab. I do the roof. I put new floors, kitchen, bathrooms, and just rent it. And I wouldn't, I'd probably keep the AC for another couple of years, just fix it up and do what we need to do to have it running and look better. But I wouldn't have to do everything as, if I'm going to sell it. I don't have to make it super pretty, where I can just make it livable. And so if I could do that, and I would like to hold it and keep it as a rental property. So that's how I bought majority of my rental properties, is with seller financing. So if you, because you mentioned, I can just sell it on terms myself, if we can do something like that, I would pay you every single month, give you a down payment, pay you monthly payments, and I would fix it up and I would rent it out.
Well, that would be just like me renting it, because I'd be getting X amount of dollars from you, because I have balance on the house that I have to pay off.
How much is that balance?
So I would have to $36,000 or thereabouts. When you get the final numbers, that's the balance that's on the statement. But how you got to call for the payoff figure.
Yeah.
On it.
Yeah, and that's a mortgage.
That's a mortgage on it. Yeah.
What's your interest rate on that?
This one. I think it seems like it's 7 or 7 something. It's not. Yeah, 7 point something.
What are your payments each month?
All the mortgages that I held. What was that?
What's your payments each month on that 30? What's your payments on that mortgage?
How much is that one? I think it seems like it's 7 something a month. I'm trying to think. I think is it 735? It's in the 700 somewhere.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. Yeah, that makes it a little bit tougher to kind of make it something creative.
If the house, but I would have to pay that off.
Yeah, that's why it makes.
Yeah, I would have to pay it off.
That's why it makes it tough, because if I give you that much down and I still put like 30K rehab instead of 50K. So then I'm like 66K in, and then my cash on cash return is not that great because I have so much cash in.
Yeah. That won't work. I pay the thing off, then I wouldn't have, or even if you gave me the money to pay it off, then I wouldn't have any money out of my pocket on that. I'm just getting them, a monthly fee from that. There's no cash in my per se in my pocket on that. What
if we do? I got an idea for us, if you're open to it here. So the thing that hurts me, obviously, is 2 things. One, it's my lender fees, and then the other thing is paying double closing costs. I got to pay closing costs when I buy from you, and then I got to pay closing costs and commissions when I sell. What if the tenants are moving out, right? This week or next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully she's going to be out today or tomorrow, or I'd say by the weekend, because she got set back with the rain. I know that. So.
How about we do an agreement where?
How about we do an agreement where I get you the 122.5, and then we don't transfer title, but we sign an agreement that I'm gonna renovate the property. I'm gonna make it brand new. I'm gonna pay for everything, and then I'm gonna sell it, and you get the 122.5. And I get the profit above that after all my costs, fees, closing costs, commissions, and all that.
But I wait till after you sell it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna fix it up and sell it. I'm gonna fix it up and sell it. So you'll get your 122.5, but it will just take
eventually. Yeah.
2 to 4 months. No, I'd say quicker, because it's not a big house, so we can rehab that place 8-10 weeks, and then we're gonna put it on the market. And the good thing also is I don't have to wait that 90-day period because we never transfer title to me. So as soon as the house is done, we can take that FHA buyer. And this house will sell quick after that.
So now they would be buying it from me, not you?
They buy it from you, not me. Exactly. And so the purchase price, obviously, like I told you, we're gonna try to get $220, but I'm gonna be reimbursed for, essentially the best way to do it is like we put like a contractor lien on the property for repairs and our profit. And so what it's gonna do is when we get the HUD, it will zero out what's owed to us. And they'll be like, what are the liens when the title gets pulled? You'll have your mortgage lien for the 36.5 or whatever the payoff amount is there. And then we'll have like a contractor lien for how much money we put onto the property. And then when we get the HUD statement, let's say it says the net to you, let's say the mortgage payoff is exactly 36.5, right? So 122.5 minus 36.5 is 86,000. So we don't know what the exact payoff is, but right now you're looking to walk away with 86 grand. Okay, so let's say we fix up the property.
Okay, I thought it was 90,000 that I'd be walking away with at the 120.
Yeah. But if 122.5 minus 30, you said 36.5 was the mortgage balance, right?
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 86. It comes out to be 86,000. So let's say we sell the property, we get 220, we get 215, we get 225, somewhere in that range, right? We're gonna have a contractor lien on the property for the 50K-ish, whatever we spend on the property. If we spend 47.5, we'll put 47.5 on there. Whatever I spend, I'm gonna put it on there. Then we're gonna have, obviously, the closing cost commissions come off of there because I'm gonna have an agent sell it so we can move it fast. And then whatever the HUD, and then obviously you're gonna have your mortgage payoff, let's say it's 36.5, and whatever the HUD statement says as the net to seller, and let's say on this case, I'm just gonna pull out random numbers, let's say it's 116, $241.21, right? What we're gonna do is I'm gonna record another lien against the property so that it zeroes out to you getting exactly $86,000. And then I would make in this case, and this was just random numbers, $30,241. Right? And if it came out to be only $96,241.21, then I would only make $10,241.12, and you would get the 86 grand.
I really don't know about that. All these liens on the property, and I could still be making house payments on it while all this is going on. I don't think I'm interested.
What if we cover the
advisor before I do that?
What if we cover the payments for you during that time period?
You're talking about all these liens and stuff on the property.
We just do that to protect our interest, because for us, if we start rehabbing the property and then you're like, hey, goodbye, Alex, and you never talk to me again. You change the locks on the door, and then then I lose 50 grand. I lose all my money. So we just put it on the property as so that way we don't get. It's like kind of our security interest.
Yeah. Well, when I bought that house, it needed a roof, and I didn't own it. I put the roof on, and it was in the other people's name. And I put the roof on, and I had to take that chance, but it was just the roof. It wasn't a whole rehab because I knew I had to have a roof in order to get financing. Everybody wants a new roof, So I put the roof on back then and didn't own it. And they could have done that to me, but fortunately, that didn't happen. But I mean, there are people out there that do things like that. I don't think I'm interested in that. I could run that by my financial advisor, but that takes care of my money and stuff. you're talking about 2 or 3 different liens on the property, and I just don't think I don't think I'm interested in that, really. I just don't think so. That's
What's your concern with it?
what's my concern. Well, I've never done anything like that, and at this point in my life, I don't think I want to do that to worry about it. I'd rather take the cash and close the deal and not worry about it. I don't need to have something hanging over my head for months. I don't need to do that.
I gotcha. No, I was trying to create alternative options for you. No, I understand.
You're coming up with some creative financing there, but I don't think that's going to suit. I just don't think that's going to suit me. I've told you before, I'm in a position I could do whatever I want, and that's not something that appeals to me. That does not.
It does. It does sound like the thing you. I completely understand that, and it does seem like the thing you want to do is really just get rid of it, right, and not have to spend money, not have to do hold a mortgage, not have to sell the property to fix it up the property, rent it out the property again.
Why should I worry
Sure.
about it? I don't need to sell it to you with all this rigmarole, and that's still a burden on my mind. I had the 23 houses, and I sold them. I collect the mortgages, but if they're doing the repairs, if that one guy just put a $15,000 roof on one of the houses, and insurance came through, and I have to sign the check, that is the mortgage holder for him to get his money, which is fine. But everybody, I just collect the money that comes in, and I don't have to worry about it. They sell it to me. It goes right in the bank account. I don't have to go beat on people's doors to pay it. Everybody is paying, have not had any problems. I've been so fortunate with that. And this just sounds, I don't need the burden on my brain. I just don't need that. I rather do, more like cut and dry and stuff. Actually, I had a couple of more houses. I was waiting to see how this one went. And actually, I got a letter in the mail from you, because I know how the people look this stuff up, for one of my other houses at 1043 Broadmoor Drive. And then one of your guys, I can't remember his name, he called
John.
the same house, John, and I laughed. I said, I got a letter from Alex on that, and on that particular house. That actually, the people just had moved out, and I'm doing renovations in there right now. I'm doing a full bathroom renovation on it right now. And then,
What's your plan if you sold it cash? What's your plan with the $86,000 if you sold it cash?
oh, I have a few things in mind. I may go and buy a Corvette.
Nice.
I have a few different things in mind to use it. And I like cash because I'm a wheeler dealer. If there's something I want to buy, I don't do CDs. I have it in with a lot of money in with Merrill. I used to be Merrill Lynch through Bank of America, and I think the interest on that's like 5% right now, close to 5%. And but it's liquid. If I want it, all I have to do is call them, and I think it's the next day. I get the money. I want my money liquid where I could get it. I have annuities and that kind of stuff, which I don't touch that. Stock market, I don't want to pull my money out of that because I make a lot of money on that. And so I like to have cash available. If I want to get something, I can go out and buy it without worrying about it or seeing where, which bank account are you going to take it out of. That money I just keep where it's at. And but I like to have a lot of liquid cash that I could do stuff with. I see it, I want it, I buy it. I'm in that point.
I love it. That's a nice point in life.
Yes, it is. And you're gonna get there too. You definitely. And that was one thing I liked about you. I know you're aggressive, and you've got a sharp mind coming up with all of these creative financing deals. And I've done
I went to school for finance.
something like that. Did you? Yeah,
Yeah, I got a finance degree, but I educate myself on with a bunch of like real estate coaches and masterminds and events constantly to go into things to kind of learn different strategies and things like that. But I definitely try to think creative and try to be a problem solver.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I'm definitely give you credit for that. I like your mind. I like your mind.
Appreciate that.
Yes, my financial guy. He's he's also my boyfriend, and he takes
Nice.
a lot of my stuff. And he's a numbers guy. He's very, very sharp, and he's I don't know if I asked you this. Do you dabble in the stock market?
Not so much. Yeah.
I may have asked you that before because he makes a lot of money for us doing covered call options.
Oh, you did mention that to me. You did.
Yeah. Okay. Just over the weekend, I went to Jacksonville with a bunch of ladies for a convention, and on the way up there, I was talking to him, and he said, "How would you like me to make you $700 today?" I'm in my truck, happily riding to Jacksonville. I said, "Oh, that's great. What girl doesn't like money?" So he says, "One of your the market was down. It was down big time, and but he mastered doing the market backwards, and he said, I'm trying to get you $750. He got me on one stock, $701.10. He was so excited, and I said, "Gee, Bill," I said, $701. That's really great, for what, 5 minutes worth of work. And I said, why don't you figure it out and make me 1,000? He said, "You want me to make you 1,000?" He said, "I'll look." He looked at another stock. I think it was Delta Airlines. He says, "I could make you 300 on that." And he worked his little magic, and he did $301. So that was in about 10 or give him 15 minutes. And 2 days prior to that, he had gotten me $1,000 on the stocks that are going down. But anyway, he ended up with the covered call option, and then he calls it the panacea of covered calls. He said, "You are not going to believe this, which I do because it happens all the time." Him and I were the only two people on the whole stock market of anybody in the world in the stock market that did these transactions. And my thing is, if you could see this, how to make all this money, why can't other people see it? He's a real wizard with the stock market. And but he thinks he really prides himself in that. Just like you should with your creative financing. You do very, very well. You're absorbing all your classes or whatever you're, reading or studying. You're doing very well. But I just don't think that's going to work for me.
I gotcha. How about, obviously we have a good conversation here, and I would like to have it end on a good note. Could we make it work at 110,000? I
had made up my mind that I felt that was because I watched. I use Zillow as a guide. I haven't gone and did the calculations myself. I use that as the guide, and every time the thing comes out every week or two, that they give me updates on all the properties, and it never goes down. It's always going up. By the time you're done with that house, it'll be valued at at 200,000. That's fixing it up the way you're doing it. I just had made up my mind. That was as low as I would go, because if I didn't sell to you all whatever you're making, I would make, but only I would be doing it for a whole lot less cost than you are, because of the way I could operate differently than you do.
For sure, but right now you don't want to you don't want to do that right now. You don't want to have to spend all that time, money, and effort, and hassle doing that, and having not collect rent to cover that.
What I do is just I put out the money for the materials. I buy everything that hey, go pick out whatever you need, buy whatever you need, nails, tools, whatever. I don't care. Buy it, and I'll pay for it, and they go do the work. So it's, you know, just like you've got it in your blood that this is, it's kind of a fun thing. It's not like work when you enjoy what you do. So
For sure.
I told myself when I was keep looking at the numbers and stuff, I felt that was a fair price that somebody else could go in and fix it up and come out okay in my own little brain.
But when you look at the numbers I showed you, and when you look at the photos, obviously I know you had that number in your mind. Don't you like kind of readjust when you see more evidence?
I have no problem with the photos. I have no problem with the photos, and I'm going to be seeing hands-on shortly because I think it's been a couple of months, at least 2 months, maybe 3, that I went in the house, and they've made a lot of progress on it from when they moved in. That they were doing repairs and upgrades and stuff as they were going along. But then, the couple split up, and that kind of put a damper on some things. I just actually I was set on the 125, and then settled with you for the 122.5, and I thought, well, I could I didn't like it, but I could deal with that. And I told in my mind, and I told Jalessa I wasn't going to take any less, that she could pass that word around. So I'm going to stay true to myself, because I have a lot of ideas of my own. My little brain is always working just like yours is. It goes in a lot of different directions.
If we
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if we do it for the 110 and you make the net, obviously it's a little bit less than 86, it'll be like 72 or something, right? You make 72,000, and then you lend that to us on future real estate deals where we pay you 10-12% interest. You'll make up that money real quick.
I just don't know if I want to do that or not. I don't need to do that kind of stuff. I don't need to have that burden on myself. I just kind of want to get another one bites the dust. Get rid of it, have my money, and go on my merry little business. I may renovate my own house with some of it. I was thinking of doing that. My house looks like new because I've never had kids in it, and I've been there 25 years. And I mean, I've never even painted on the inside. The walls still don't need to be painted because of how it's. And I thought about doing some upgrades in my own house, change out the flooring and stuff. Well, I just bought all new appliances. But anyway, I have different things in mind that I would do with the money. I don't know if I want to be loaning money anymore.
I'm shooting all my shots here.
I know you're doing great. You really are. You're doing great. I think you are. But I just in my mind, your figures are high, because I know it wouldn't cost me nowhere near that, but I know I'm not paying out the interest to the other lenders and all that stuff because of the way you have to, you borrow the money. It's not just that you've got the cash there. You're going to be paying interest and all that, which I don't have to do. So your figures, to you, that's fine, but to me, they're kind of way off, to me, but not to you.
No, I got you. Yeah, for sure. You're in a different position than I am to be able to get it done.
Totally different positions we are. So in my mind, your figures are way too high, and in your mind, you're right on it. But because I operate differently than you do, but we end up with pretty much the same result. But
yeah,
it's just we come up with the same result. And like you were talking about, well, you would keep it for a rental. You'd only spend $30,000 instead of $50,000 on it. well, I'm not even going to spend that. The most expensive thing would be the roof.
Yeah.
But I have, and the roof is not leaking or anything. It's never
Yeah.
been patched. So I could probably get, a little longer on the roof, but I have people that do the roofs real cheap for me. I go out and buy the materials, and one of my guys that rents from me is a roofer, and well, actually two of them are that are roofers, and so they do the stuff really reasonable for me. I go down and they tell me how many squares. I order all the stuff, and the building supply company delivers it on the roof, and they do the work, take it off the rent, and sometimes I give them cash for the roofs. But anyway, it works out well for me. Whereas you're going to pay, how much did you figure for a roof on there?
Typically for us, it would be a roof with this. This is a flat roof, too. Like it's got a very low pitch. This will be like $10,000.
Oh.
Yeah. For real.
That's a lot.
Yeah, back in the day, I could get this done for like $6-7 grand.
Yeah, I could probably do the roof for $5,000.
Yeah, for me, even back in the day, it would cost like $6-7 grand for this roof. But now it's like 10.
Yeah, that is high. Well, I mean, it's not high for you, but it would be for.
Oh, it's high. It's high for me. Like the prices in the last 3 years have like a full rehab used to cost me $30 a square foot. So this property, 30 grand. I could do a full rehab all day long. And that was only like 3 years ago. Now it's literally $50 a square foot almost, which is 45 grand. That's typically what it is. It's like across the board. Orlando, Tampa, every different areas. Like it's almost like exactly $50 a square foot to renovate these houses, and that's why it's much more difficult nowadays to get deals to pencil out. And so, we want to do everything we can, and we're willing to take less of a profit. And I went from 99, on my paper to 110, and that eats profit. And, hopefully there's some costs I can, shave down there. Hopefully that risk assessment stuff I can wipe away, stuff like that. And it gives us we could still make that, 20 profit or so. And we make money on volume. We're doing a lot of deals, but I'm trying to come up to the most I can to make it still work for you. And I know obviously we're still a little bit away, but we'll love to see if we can make the 110 work, and we can close this month and get it done and not have it be a headache for you, and make it a smooth, easy process where even if the tenant leaves it full of trash, you don't have to worry about it. We'll take care of everything, and you just get the check at the end of the month, and you'll be happy on your way to either buy a Corvette or rehab your house, and not have to have another burden.
Yeah. Well, I said I wasn't going to take anything off, but because I like you, I'll do 120. That was your original offer.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's too tight for us.
Yeah. Okay. That's yeah. I'm gonna end up defeating my purpose, because I have I'm going to have 7 rentals left. It doesn't matter if I have one more or one less. As long as you have them. Sometimes you want to pull your hair out, but for the most part, the majority of people are fine. Call somebody and say, hey, I'm going away, cover for me. If it gives them, I give the tenants phone numbers. You have a problem, call these people. They'll take care of it. They know they'll get paid when I get back. And, or they call me, and I was in Mexico, and I got a phone call, and sitting there getting ready on an open arena on the bleachers, and the phone rang. Tenant was having a problem. I just hung up, called the people to go take care of it, and sitting there in Mexico, and I'm doing my wheeling and dealing. And Bill, he thinks that's really neat, that we're away. And he don't have a cell phone. He refuses to have a cell phone, but he's glad I have one. So we go do things, and with the cell phone, you get everything taken care of. So, and nipped it in the bud. So, well, I'm sorry that we're, I can mull this over. I'll run it by Bill, but I just don't feel that I want to do that. So your best offer now is 110,000. That's what you.
That would be that would be the absolute highest we can go to make it work and still close this month and get everything done for you. Easy and stress free for you from here on out.
Okay. I could think about it tonight, and I'll run it by Bill. But I actually don't really want to do that. Just my first instinct is I don't want to do it. I don't have to do it. I don't have to do anything I don't want to do.
For sure.
But if you could finagle around, cut this and cut that, and come up with the 120, I would go back on my word to myself from the 122.5 to your original 120. Only because I like you.
I appreciate that. And so for me, on my thing, my goal was 100, and my top was 107.5, and I also came. I went over my marked number to the 110. So, and so I do appreciate you spending the time and letting you hear my potential ideas to make it work. So I do appreciate that.
Yes, you did, and you made some pretty good creative financing efforts. You did. I've had a couple of creative financing things, but not the ones that you came up with. So that was but no hard feelings.
Of course not. No. So I'll have Jalissa send a cancellation and release to you, and then. But if you do change your mind, if you go out there and you look at it and you're like, you know what, I don't want to deal with this. You call me back.
Yeah. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
Because I'll go in after she moves out. That's when you see what's got to be, the real thing when they get all their stuff out of there. So Check with her tonight. Nobody answers the phone. It's always, fortunately, she's been answering my text, and see where she stands and where I could meet her, get the keys and all that stuff, and then I could go in and do my own assessment and go from there. So she could send the papers. What does it have, like a time limit to sign the papers, a cancellation, or what?
No, it's just more of a notice from us to you. No, it's just a notice from us to you. But if you do come back like this week and you're like, hey, I don't want to deal with this, I'll take that 110. We could just write up a new agreement and we'll get it going and run title again and try to close as quick as possible for you. So it will be an easier process, obviously, because we already have photos and everything else. But yeah.
Right. Well, are you going to send another crew to come through the house again, or what, when she moves out? What would the next step, or just go to closing?
We should just be able to move to closing. Yeah, we should be able to move to closing.
Okay, so you don't have to come back.
I don't believe so, because we might depending on when you call. If you call me in the next couple of days, we should be good. If you call me in 2 weeks, then we might have to, because maybe that lender who was allocated in these funds to this deal, is not going to be sufficient for pictures. They might want somebody else to come in and get an inspection. So all our lenders are a little bit different. Some people want like a physical inspection. Some people are okay with just photos. So, if it happens quick, then yes, we should be just moving to close. If it's a couple of weeks or a month or something like that, then we might have to get back in one more time.
Okay. What about 115?
Yeah, 110 is really my top. I'm sorry. I wish I could. I would love to make a deal with you, just because I like you too. I appreciate the conversation we've had.
Yeah. We had been a good team, Alex.
Right.
Definitely. I like your mind. I like the way you think. You're very, very quick thinker and stuff. I really like that. I like dealing with somebody that knows what he's doing.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate the conversation and everything. Yeah, you've definitely enlightened me on
Likewise.
a few things that I've not encountered, and I really appreciate that. So when she goes, hopefully tomorrow, maybe she'll be out. I'll find out tonight when I get home. I'll send her a text and see where she stands, and like you said, I could go in and look around and see what's going on, and Jalessa could send the papers. And what did she do? Send it over email, or how did that?
She'll just send an email to you that says, this is just a notice of cancellation on the contract based on inspections, and that's it. It's just like a notice. That's it. We just have to verbally or let you know, verbally or written. Let you know.
Okay. Do I have to sign anything, or you just sign it?
No, you don't have to sign anything. It's just like it's just like a written notice. That's it.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. I'll.
And you have my cell phone now too. Yeah. Just whenever she goes out, looks at it, the one I text you the photos and that information. That's my cell phone number.
Oh.
Not the one we're talking on. The one Yeah, the one where. Yes, ma'am. Yep. Correct.
Okay. Good. I'm glad I have that. Okay,
Yep.
Alex.
And I got you saved in my phone too. So if you call, I'll know it's you.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Alex.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Could not make it work. I did get a million compliments, but I couldn't get it work. So this just shows you can't. It doesn't work for everybody. You gotta talk to them, see what works. She had no real motivation. She has many options. She don't need the money. She'll rent it out. She all the possibilities in the world. So can't work for everybody. You sent her the cancellation though? Thank you. Gave her everything I could, multiple extra strategies, kind of a novation, but not really, more of like a full renovation novation. And that didn't work for her. She didn't really want to seller finance. Well, seller financing wouldn't have worked because she had a mortgage and her payments was high with high interest. So that wasn't gonna work. And so no go on that one. But her tenants are gonna move out. She's gonna go look at it and then she'll see. She said she wasn't gonna budge off of 122.5. She went to 120. Then at the end she went to 115. But it doesn't work for us at 115 because we have it sold at 115. So you gotta make at least $5,000. We're trying to get for 100 to make 15. But she wasn't moving. We'll see when she looks at it. See if she comes back around. But subscribe to see more videos like that of like pitching shots, creative options, just spitballing, making things up that will work. But not for this one. It's all numbers game. You gotta find the sellers who are motivated. Motivation is key. The seller's not as motivated. We'll rip that one up right now and we'll see if she comes back. Bang, bang. All right, we left yesterday at the office late after an hour plus conversation with the seller where I offered her everything in the world, gave her a creative option after option, and I got told no. She said she wasn't gonna budge off the 122.5 and come to my offer of 100, 105, 110. She came down to 120 and then 115 eventually, but that was it. We ended the conversation. I took all my shots. It was what it was. We thought it was a loss. But then she calls today. The next day she called. She said she talked to her financial advisor and she is good to reduce for 110. And so we actually came out with a win here. And so that's good. It's not a big win, but a little bit something's better 100% than nothing. But it does just tell you, like, take your shot, get all the evidence you can from your buyers of why you need a reduction, and just present multiple offers to the seller, try to solve their problem. You can come away with the win. Bang, bang.